What in the world is going on south of the border, down Mexico way? It looks like war. It smells like war. Not war with another country, but war with its own drug cartels. And make no mistake, that violence is spilling into our country, across our decidedly unfortress-like southern border. Mexican politicians and police chiefs have entered the U.S. as refugees seeking asylum from drug cartels that have sworn to kill them. An El Paso hospital has gone on high security alert several times while treating cartel victims. Dozens of Mexican officials and reporters have been assassinated, and beheadings have skyrocketed. In the last year alone, over 300 Mexican police officers and 3,500 citizens have been killed by the cartels. So is Mexico at war? Come a little closer, and I'll tell you a secret. Mexico has already lost this war. In fact, at the mercy of the cartel's terrorism, it isn't even a functioning nation. The Defense in the National Interest blog described Mexico as hollowed out by the drug cartels who use Mexico's corpse as a shield and cover for their activities. Mexico's President Calderón recently conceded he was sending troops, quote, in an effort to recapture territories lost to drug traffickers. And here's the real question. Are our wide-open borders causing us to lose territory as a result of Mexico's drug war as well? Decide for yourself. Mexican cartels have established lookout points as far as 200 miles into the U.S. When confronted with photographic evidence, Karl Rove dismissed the concern. The cartels are taking and holding land inside our national forests to grow their crops. There have been at least 5 separate occasions where American citizens enjoying the scenery have been confronted by armed cartel goons. Both the number and sophistication of attacks on Border Patrol agents have risen sharply in recent years. In 2006, 2 Border Patrol agents came under sniper fire, and razor wire is being strung at neck level in areas where agents patrol on motorcycle. The cartels have created a cadre of young enforcers known as the Baby Zetas, which are composed primarily of American Hispanics. At cartel camps on the Gulf Coast of Mexico, youngsters are trained in such terrorism techniques as bombs and murder. An officer safety alert defines the cartel's goal as to, quote, begin gaining control of areas, cities, and regions within the United States. The cartels aren't stupid. They keep the violence on our soil at a level that allows cowardly and corrupt politicians to pretend it doesn't exist, and cowardly news sources to pretend that individual incidents aren't part of a clearly observable pattern. Our good friend to the south is melting down, and in truth, there's very little we can do to stop it. Our feckless government is currently considering helping the Mexican government battle the cartels by writing them a $1.5 billion check under what is known as the Merida Initiative. The Mexican government, of course, is very offended that we might want to have some say in how the $1.5 billion is spent. They are insisting the money be given with no strings attached. And it's a moot point anyway. We've been down this road before. And would you care to hazard a guess as to what we got for our troubles? If your answer is the current cartels we're battling, you get a gold star. There are really only 2 choices in this post-9/11 world. We can continue the current strategy of our pioneering politicians and brave media watchdogs, pretend that nothing is happening as we watch more and more ground being ceded to the drug cartels. Or we can take the threat seriously and finally, 7 long years after 9/11, secure our borders. Seems like a no-brainer to us. But then we're not elected officials or media professionals. We're just citizens. What the hell do we know? The victim, Mackenzie Maddox, 6, of West Allis, Wisconsin. The accused, Jose A. Rodriguez, 29, an illegal alien from Mexico. The charges, driving with a revoked license causing death and federal re-entry charges from ICE. The story. On June 9th, the girl and her mom were crossing the street on foot when Rodriguez, driving a red dump truck, struck them, killing 6-year-old Mackenzie instantly. It's not 100% clear what caused the accident at that intersection, but what is clear is that Rodriguez wasn't supposed to be in the country, let alone that intersection, when this tragedy occurred. In addition to several previous driving-related arrests, including a DUI, Rodriguez was deported back to Mexico just 4 months ago. Yet there he was, illegally driving a dump truck for the employer who hired him illegally after he somehow, magically, miraculously, managed to sneak back across our fortress-like southern border. Of course, if our government had been doing its job, getting and keeping illegal aliens out of our country, one of Presidente Bush's willing workers wouldn't have been here, again, to crush a 6-year-old little girl named Mackenzie Maddox. And that makes this crime what? 100% preventable. The victim, a 30-year-old Providence woman. The accused, Marco Ruiz, 26, an illegal alien from Guatemala. The charges: kidnapping, first-degree robbery, 2 counts of first-degree sexual assault, carjacking, and assault with a dangerous weapon. The story: Ruiz had just been fired from his job as a cook at the Texas Roadhouse restaurant on June 8th when he accosted the victim outside a Warwick convenience store. The woman was waiting in the passenger seat of her mom's SUV while she ran into the store when Ruiz jumped into the vehicle wielding a steak knife and robbed her. Then, with the woman still inside, he put the car in gear and drove to a nearby park, where he forced her from the car into the woods and raped her. After moving her farther into the woods, he raped her again, then drove to another location where he left her and took off in the car. Police described the attack as horrific and atrocious and said, quote, "This is one of those that sticks in your mind." Police captured Ruiz from phone tips received after broadcasting his picture, taken from the convenience store's surveillance camera. Turns out Ruiz had an outstanding deportation order from 2006 and has used at least a dozen aliases. Of course, if our government, at any level and at any point in time, had been doing its job, getting and keeping illegal aliens out of our country, Ruiz wouldn't have been here to commit this horrific and atrocious attack on an American citizen, on American soil. And that makes this crime what? 100% preventable. In November of 2006, John Monti was attacked by 8 day laborers in San Diego, California. Though he was attacked and had photo evidence to prove it, he was charged with 4 misdemeanor counts of battery, 4 counts of interfering with the civil rights of day laborers, and 1 count of falsifying a criminal report. Unfortunately for the utterly corrupt San Diego government, who appeared to be trying to intimidate local patriotic organizations, John was found not guilty by a unanimous jury. So the same brain trust that cooked up the first false charges against John are taking another bite at the apple. They are seeking financial damages from John and others named in the civil suit they've now filed. And that's where you come in. John needs our support to fight this. Please join his Facebook group, Support John Monti. Make a donation and tell your friends. This is the next illegal immigration battlefield, folks, and we're going to have to work together if we're serious about winning the war and standing by our fellow soldiers. Thanks for clicking in to this week's episode of the Blogs4Borders video blog burst. We mentioned war several times this week, and we'd like to mention one other aspect where the good citizens of this country are and need to continue fighting: information. In our quest to bring you news about illegal immigration every week, we use resources like Numbers USA, VDARE, the Center for Immigration Studies, and Alapac to gather that information. Care to guess what we all have in common? Being underfunded, while the other side rolls in cash provided by our feckless government and ginormous foundations. If you ever wonder why we ask for your support after each show, and often mention supporting other blogs and organizations that focus on this issue, it's because we feel called to duty on the information battleground, and waging any war takes money. We want to keep doing this and then some, So we'll keep asking for your help so we can keep on researching, making this show, and doing our part to get the info out there. Your help, if you're able, is always greatly appreciated. So until next week, be vigilant, be vocal, and be unrelenting. We've got a country to save.